Welcome back to Salt City Counseling, everybody. My name's Scott Carter. I'm a licensed therapist here in the beautiful state of Utah. And in this video, I want to talk about enabling behaviors and codependency. Now, this kind of applies in a variety of contexts. The term codependency first surfaced in the substance abuse realm. The codependent person is always the one that enables the addict or the alcoholic. They're the ones, if you ever seen the show Intervention, it's a good show. Super depressing. Super duper depressing. But the codependent is always the one I remember one episode where this girl would drive her dad to his drug deal. He was a meth addict, and she would drive him to go pick up meth, which is a horrible, horrible, horrible drug. But she would drive him there. And when asked why she did that, she's like, well, I just want to make sure that he's safe. You are enabling him. You are keeping him sick by doing that. And the truth of the matter is, the more you do for someone, the less that they will do for themselves. And there's a myth of being helpful. There's a myth of helping. There's a helping myth. And I see it pervasively. And the helping myth is to work harder at other people's problems than they work at it, okay? And here's why this is bad. When you do this, you give them, or reinforce in them, a sense of powerlessness. Like they can't help themselves. The more you do for them, the more you reinforce this idea or this feeling for them that they can't do it on their own, that they need someone to do it for them. And I run into this with teenagers, and kind of had this come up recently where, I've got a parent that is basically working harder at everything for the kid. And the more that this parent does for their kid, the less the kid does. Until, they got to the point where the kid does virtually nothing but smoke pot. That's really it. And you're talking about a kid that's on the threshold of becoming an adult. I don't think 18 is adulthood, by the way. I think that's a joke. I think that 18 is not even close. I think, especially because the world has become more complex, maybe 150 years ago, 18 as an adult was fine, not now. Should be bumped up to 21. I know 18-year-olds would hate that, but anyways, I digress. So what we end up doing is we do more for people than they are doing for themselves, and thereby you enable them, you keep them sick, you render them powerless, and the more spoiled they become, the more entitled, the less motivated they become. And unfortunately, this can set up a person, if this is a relationship that you have, you can set this person up for major, major, major misery in the future. I see this all the time where it's like the person who is being enabled, they become accustomed to doing less and less and less because it's basically conditioned their brain to believe that if they remain powerless enough for a long enough time, if they do less and less and less enough over time, someone will swoop in and save them and do it for them. And which is probably true in many regards. Sooner or later, somebody will always do something for them. Those people will never be happy. Those people will very highly unlikely not be able to achieve very much. And unfortunately, again, we have this myth about helping. Okay? One of my rules with helping people, never ever care more about their problems than they care about their problems. And along those same lines, never ever work harder at solving their problems than they work at it. Ever. Ever, ever, ever. And you enable them, okay? And, we see this example, too, of you might have this friend who's... Here's a common example. This friend is, always spending a ton of money, buying marijuana, buying weed. And then they come to you and they go, hey, man... could you spot me money for rent, man? And the answer is, if I give you money for rent, I won't have money for rent, so no. And then they try to hit you with a sob story, but I might get evicted. That's not my problem, bro. I do not entertain these friendships. I don't do it. I do not do it. But in a context of parenting, And I already did a video on like online school. And unfortunately, too many parents have this relationship at home. Quite frankly, moms especially. I see this with moms more than dads. I'm just being honest. I'm not trying to put moms down. But moms have a tendency to caretake and to work harder at solving their children's problems than the children do. And the moms are working harder at getting the kid out of bed, working harder to get the kid online for school, working harder at getting the kid to stay on task. Okay? And parents just, and then they power struggle all day. By the time Wednesday comes around, the parents are like, holy crap, I am losing my mind here. And again, the trick is you have to not work harder at this than they do. Okay? And here is the number one response when I tell this to parents. But what if they fail? And I'm like, good. They need to. They should. So one of our normalized parenting practices here in the 21st century is that kids should have this problem-free life, that encountering difficulty is catastrophic. I can tell you this is a failed strategy. I've worked with droves and droves and droves of teenagers over the years, okay? And for example, right now, I'm probably working with, a dozen or so teenagers. There's one of them, out of all of them, that I believe is really going to get somewhere. I really do. I believe that he's got a few issues to get through. But once he really hits his stride, man, he's going to kill it in life. He's just going to be successful. I'm sure of it. And he's the one kid who's been through super hard things, has failed and learned to pick himself back up. All the other 11 kids that have a parent that remove all the difficult things and make life easy for them and work harder at their problems than they do, those kids are, I'm concerned that they are going to not make it in life. Like if their parents got hit by a bus, they would be up, you know what creek without a paddle. It'd be in bad shape. If a kid fails, good. I want them to. It will make them strong. They have to, okay? And again, one of the normalized parenting things is that if they fail or they go through hard things, it's catastrophic. And I hear this from moms. I don't like seeing my child in pain. Okay? Well, you can learn to change it in the context of failure and hardships are good for them, while you can still comfort them. It's going to be okay. You're going to get through this. We just learn. We move on. Come on, let's go get a taco. What did you learn from it, right? What's your plan? Instead of like, oh, my kid is hurting and I have to fix it. I have to save him. I have to remove anything uncomfortable. Okay, so this is codependent behavior. I see this in relationships with people who are or I see this in situations where people are in a relationship, for example, with someone who has borderline personality disorder. Do everything for her. And again, I say her because most cases of borderline are female, whereas most cases of narcissism are male. But I've seen these codependent types in relationships with those who have borderline personality disorder. They end up doing everything for them. They're always the one to soothe them, caretake their emotions, cook for them, practically spooning the food into their mouth, practically moving their jaw up and down for them, and okay, swallow, and it's so common where it's like if you have a borderline wife, right, and I'm using visual aids and props here, and she goes, I'm hungry, and immediately he's like pulling his keys out of his okay, she doesn't even say, will you please go get me food? She just goes, I'm hungry, and he's already up. Okay, do you want Taco Bell or do you want McDonald's, right? And the people who have borderline already perceive themselves as powerless. And the more you do for them, the more they will have that perception, okay? So you have to change your belief system. You have to change, why do I do this? What is my incorrect or inaccurate belief about behaving this way? And then you can start replacing it with a new belief. You got to think about your belief as like a computer program. And when you plug it in, you'll perform that function. When you plug in beliefs, you, like the computer, will perform that function. So, And that, frankly, is a big, giant other can of worms that I frankly don't have time to get into. But I talk a lot about belief systems on my other channel, which is in the link. The link is in the description below. And so go check it out. It's very important to understand your belief system and why we do what we do. We have a incorrect belief system about our belief system. Okay. Anyways, thanks for watching. I got to get to work. Like, subscribe, share. Help me out. Hit the tip jar. And we'll see you in the next one.